Welcome to Body Talks Mind Lessons with Indu. Are you ready to hear real life stories from around the world how Body Talk system has helped heal trauma and brought vitality back to life? If yes, stay tuned and find out if this is what you have been waiting for. Dear listeners, let's enjoy another episode of Body Talks Mind Lessons. And in this one, I am really excited to share how passion can become a profession for a lifetime. So I welcome Sherry Gilbert to tell us how she got started in Body Talk and became a senior instructor all on a fast track. Looking forward to getting the details, Sherry, even though I'm a bit nervous asking you all the questions.
Thank you, Indu. No problem. No worries to be nervous. I'm nervous as well to do these things. So it's been a pleasure to have the invite, and thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, you are most welcome. So, Sherry, let's just start with where you are located. And have you always lived there? Have you gone through, your rounds of the world?
Yeah, I'm in Canada, and I spent the last 20 years in Saskatchewan, and in the last 2 years, well, since COVID, I have been in Alberta, so I'm around Calgary, and I've been traveling around the world before COVID, teaching classes and instructing seminars for Body Talk and doing some clinical practices when I go to the areas in the world that I would teach at. Um, but basically, since COVID, it's been pretty grounded, and all of my clinical practice, when I started teaching, it switched all into distance practice. So my client base was pretty used to the distance format when COVID hit. So that didn't really change for me. But I do offer Zoom sessions. I try to incorporate 2 to 3 days a week of sessions in and around all the other things that I do. My teaching schedule hasn't had as big of an opportunity simply because I've COVID changed a lot and I prefer to teach in person than online, but I am coming around to the online format. So lots has changed and yeah, I'm enjoying Alberta and I'm hoping that the world can get back to traveling, um,
Yeah, yeah.
normal
So,
travels.
yeah, Sherry, you have beautifully summarized what all has been disrupted by COVID. But the flexibility of Body Talk that I have loved is that how we have morphed into doing the sessions, the classes online, and it has beautifully adjusted to whatever came our way. Yes, I look forward to, doing classes in person, but at the same time, to be able to do remote sessions has been a blessing, right?
Yes, I agree. And the flexibility has been wonderful, especially when we're a healthcare industry and we were at the peak of a pandemic and global crisis, right? So to be able to put these great tools into people's hands at a time of crisis was really fantastic. I'm so happy that John and Esther were open to allowing us to teach online and that we could quickly implement the different procedures to get it to go online and still be able to see results. Like students really really were able to grasp this information in the online format much better than we anticipated. So that was so beautiful to see. It really makes the diversity and the access of the system more solidified.
Yes, absolutely. Now let's get back into how you came across Body Talk. What was your personal journey? Because I have heard from so many people is that Body Talk just shows up when you're ready. So, uh, to start out with, were you ever interested in complementary medicine, or it was a totally, uh, I don't know, a right turn or some kind of a turn that brought Body Talk to you?
Yeah, basically, I just got tired. I have had three children, so they're all grown and flown adult children now. But when I was younger and raising my little ones, it felt like with three kids, I was constantly in the doctor's office with one thing or another for one of them every single week. And I honestly, I thought there's got to be a better way. We have to be able to prevent some of this, or we have to be able to support it so that we don't tax the healthcare system. And time wise, I just didn't have the time to be sitting in the doctor's office all the time. So I started out just researching and trying to figure out what would work, like what could I get into, and
Hmm.
just see what how it went. And so I found Reiki, and I started receiving sessions myself, and I thought, well, this is kind of interesting. And so I took some courses and I became a Reiki master. And interestingly enough, that's how John and Esther started out in the Body Talk world. They went around the world teaching Reiki. So I find that parallel interesting. And a lot of my students as well come from a Reiki background. So in that, it didn't really appease my scientific brain, my analytical anatomy brain. And so I wanted to find something that was kind of um, that would work more for my mindset. Not that I wasn't really open and enjoying the right brain flow of Reiki and that energy, but I just really wanted the science and that aspect. And all of a sudden, I came across Body Talk from a friend of the family, and my mom had been talking to this lady, and she came to me and said, "Mom," or my mom said, "You should try this." And so I looked up a class, and there's a class 4 hours away from me, and which was actually fairly close. Canada's pretty big, so 4 hours was not that far of a travel for me. And so I ended up jumping into a 4 day Body Talk Fundamentals class without even having a session. It just really piqued my interest. It felt like a good fit, and when I arrived at class, I really felt like I landed at the perfect spot. It felt like these people were just right up my alley. The content was brilliant. Um, and then I went into the resistance mode of when they started talking about how we were tapping on the heads and the hearts, and that was all we did back then was tapping on heads and hearts, and
True,
now we
true.
tap on the gut brain.
Yes.
But I came to a lot of resistance. I'm like, come on now, how are we going to make these shifts and changes happen just with tapping? But I hung in there. And after the first technique that we learned, I had a massive shift right on the table myself. My sinuses opened up. The pressure that I didn't even know that I had in my head for chronically, it dissipated immediately. I just was in awe at how such a delicate, gentle process was having this massive shift in my headspace.
Oh, wow,
Literally.
Sherry, you are giving me goosebumps all over. I can literally feel the session happening. And
Yeah,
I'm
it was
so
profound.
surprised that a lot of people start with, okay, I'm going to, take a session before I can be convinced about becoming a practitioner. And here you go 2 feet forward and straight into fundamentals. Wow, that must have been a calling from from above that you really needed to go take these classes and having a shift right away.
Yeah.
What a joyride.
Yes, it absolutely was. Like I just felt like I didn't have another choice. It just was meant to be, and I just jumped in.
Yeah, I also wanted to take a step back and a lot of people ask this question, but I would like to get your answer that
Sure.
what is the difference in Reiki and body talk, according to you?
Um, they're very different. It's a very different sense of energy. Like when I have a Reiki session, I feel energy flowing through my body, um, as I do in Body Talk, but it's such a different, I can't even put words to the different sense of it. What I
Hmm.
do notice is that Reiki seems to have a more of an unconscious participation in it,
Mm-hmm.
whereas body talk to me feels like my conscious awareness is also peaked. And there's a little bit greater focus on observation and curiosity of how things are unfolding and what got us to be here. So there seems to be a more conscious participation, whereas the Reiki is more of a trusting and just a subconscious flow of energy. Not that that doesn't happen in body talk either, but I think that's really what appealed to me was the conscious participation and awarenesses and the aha moments,
Mm-hmm.
that we really kind of zone in on, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah, very well said. What I mean, there are all kinds of descriptions that we can put together. But
Mm,
what I feel is that Reiki kind of creates a peaceful environment. So you can
yeah.
send it to somebody, and it's acts as a great background information.
Mm,
But body talk is a focused energy to bring about a change, just like you said, and that change could be based on your consciousness getting ready to heal itself. So that is a much bigger thing, and also it is a system. It's not just energy. It is all kinds of things that are part of body talk. It is so broad based that I think there's no comparison to say.
yeah. Yeah, I really enjoy the body talk system. And, Reiki does come up. We have a whole bubble called other modalities in our chart. So um, if there is some other healing technique that is required, or the energy or philosophy of another technique, we have another modalities bubble, and it can incorporate so much. Like you said, it's very diverse in how body talk operates.
Right. So let's go back to your journey. And you became Body Talk practitioner right away, or you were practicing Body Talk for some time, just to get the feel for it. How did the whole thing progress for you?
Well, I always say, and it's in a joking, half joking way, that these courses should be stamped with the stamp of highly addictive, um, because I was in my very first class in February of 2007, and I certified in October of 2007. So I had taken two fundamentals classes, I had taken the principles of consciousness, I'd taken the biodynamics, I had registered for Parama and Unit 1, and I also had taken the Mindscape and was enrolled in Breakthrough. So
In the same year?
I in 6 months, yes.
Oh my, that is
Yeah, like
fast track I haven't seen before.
I was all in and full on, you might say. I just couldn't get enough. It piqued my interest in my intellectual interest. I was stunned and in awe at the miracles that were happening, and it just really felt like a community that these were my people. It was like-minded and curious and open to the wonders of the world. And it just spoke to me, and I just couldn't get enough. And I figured the more I learned, the better understanding I would have and be able to explain it to people. And it's interesting because I've really shifted my way of thinking now. um, when people ask me what body talk is or what I do for a living, I'll tell them, well, I do a body talk, but it's a complementary healthcare system. And when they ask me a little bit further about how does it work, I'm really just honest and say, after all these years, I really don't know. I just know that it works, and I know that it's based in quantum physics, but yet I don't have the ability to explain all of that, nor do I think that science has really caught up with it to really fully understand how it's working. But I always say that I turn my lights on every day in my house, and I have no idea how energy works either, like electricity. So I'm just going at it with that perspective, and just trusting that whatever needs to happen does happen.
Interestingly, Sherry, I was going to ask you the question that what is your definition of body talk? And when a lot of people ask me, every time I come up with a different definition. But you're right that it is like so many things happen even inside our brain that we cannot explain. Come on, doesn't matter how brilliant of a scientist you are. Have you understood everything about human body? Not yet.
Yeah,
So
no, that we
similarly,
have no idea.
yeah, similarly, trust the system and start with it and see the miracles happen. Explanation will come later, right?
Yes. Yes. And I've resigned myself that the explanation may never fully come in my lifetime, and I'm okay with that. Now, I never used to be, and I think that's why I had to take so many classes, but after all of these years, it's like, wow, I'm surrendering to the fact that I know nothing, and that's okay. I'm loving the experience.
Very well said. Now, let me ask you, maybe I'm asking you again, but your journey has been on a fast track. But I see a lot of people kind of start with fundamentals, just become a practitioner, and then kind of get lost that, because I have a group of people in India who are new practitioners, and some of them are not able to move forward. Do you feel that there is some kind of fear, or there is some kind of uh, something that stops people from going all the way in? It's like, like playing poker, all in. There is no stopping. And here people take a step, get there, but then they halt.
Yes, I see a few things that happen, and because I've been teaching fundamentals since 2012, and what I've noticed in my own students is there's a lot of intellect, right? And sometimes that intellect gets overwhelming for people. So, when we take the first fundamental class, it's 4 days, it's 23 techniques, and there's two charts that we have to memorize. And the reason that we memorize them is so that it can become second nature to us as practitioners. And so then it opens the doorway for our intuition to flow and
Mhm.
for things to just become so much more diverse. It's like when we drive a car, and when we first start driving, we have to think about everything. But then 20 years later, we're tuning the radio and we're talking to the people in the vehicle with us. And it's second nature as to how we're driving the car. It doesn't even seem like that's our primary focus anymore. So that's the same with body talk. The intellect is overwhelming to start with, it seems, for some people, and that prevents them from going on. Another part where I feel like people lose interest is um, if they get frustrated in doing their own work. It can shake your world up a little bit. These are very profound concepts that we deal with. Um, for example, the concepts of time and space, that doesn't exist. That's how we can experience spontaneous healings, right? Like when you have a practitioner that's open to the possibility that time doesn't exist in the linear fashion that we're used to, we become different observers. And so if the person in the student isn't able to grasp onto those and trust those concepts, then I feel like they limit themselves right away. And then they get frustrated because maybe they can't get the results, or they're not feeling comfortable enough with the material to be able to explain it to their clients or their students. So I feel like there's a lot of our own self growth that happens while we're learning this system, and I see that sometimes people get frustrated with that self growth.
Yeah, that's very well said, Sherry. Very similar to my own experience. I was a lifelong engineer, so very,
Ah,
very much into a left brain profession for a long time. And of course, the body talk appealed to me because I also had the science medical background. So I loved the logical part of it. But
mhm.
now I see where I got stuck. I was way too logical. And to step into the right brain, I really had to calm down my left brain for a long time. Every time I wanted to do a session, the first thing that will come up is I'm going to forget something,
Yeah.
which is a very left brain fear. And to really believe that right brain knows it all, and the
Mhm.
session is already in the universe, you are just accessing it, was
Yeah.
very foreign to me. And
Mhm.
believe me, there was just like you said, maybe I needed to have so much, personal growth as part of the body talk. I had to go learn mindfulness to really calm down my brain to be able to get into sessions. So, very well said that the readiness comes from how much we are able to let go of the control and the ego,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because ego is also there that, oh, it should go in a certain way. So,
Mhm.
right? And body talk tells you that there are no expectations, let it go. And for a lot of us, that is very unnerving. To
Yes.
let go of the outcome, to let go of how the session should turn out to be, that whole fear is a huge thing to get over.
It really truly is. I took the Principles of Consciousness class. I can't remember if it was, I think it was 6 times. And the reason that I had to take that class, and thankfully, when you repeat a class, it's at a huge price drop. So I was so thankful for that. But I didn't realize until my sixth class that there's actually techniques to learn in that class because I couldn't get past the concept of no control. My
Oh.
brain really could not grapple that I had no control. Um, and I took breakthrough as well to try and overcome this, like, and understand it at my essence, at my core, of that we really truly don't have control, and if you did have control, you would never give it up. So you can't have a little bit of control. And I fought with myself for so long over that, that it took me that many repeats of classes to understand it. And I'm thankful I still have to convince my brain every day that I don't have control, and I just have to surrender and trust and not be attached to outcome. And I've come a huge long way, but it's just, I think, the part of our human nature and part of our ego and our experience of being human is to have that illusion of control. And so I'm thankful that we have the many opportunities to try and grapple with these concepts. And like I said, every day still I'm learning and growing on these huge concepts that we just take baby bite-sized bites every day and work through it. Yeah, so it's been a fun journey. I would never change any of it. I've
Yes.
loved every moment, even the good parts and the bad parts. Some of the healing isn't always comfortable. Some of the growth isn't always comfortable, and it changes our lives a lot when we really embrace the work, and it doesn't just change our health, but it changes our mindset. Yeah, it's
Yes.
very cool.
Oh, Shari, you were so humble and humbling to me that you took the class 6 times, and here I
Yeah.
was. I, other than fundamentals, it's funny that fundamentals and now Mindscape. I have
Mhm.
not repeated any class the second time because this is the now that you're pointing out, this is my left brain ego that I expected that I should learn the material the first time, and
I
after that I only study on my own. And you are putting it so beautifully that that is humbling that you took the class 6 times. So very very well said that sometimes,
Yeah.
just to face the real me, right? It takes
Mhm.
time. It's always a struggle in front of the mirror and in front of life, surrender.
Absolutely.
Which is not a passive thing, by the way. Surrender is a
No,
very active thing you have to do in front of body talk.
Yes, it truly is not passive, but the freedom that it allows for us to just truly embrace who we are meant to be. It's a great process. Like I said, not always comfortable, but yeah, retaking classes. I can study a lot from a book, and intellectually I can grasp things, but experientially, I feel like I can't get the experiences from a book. And so it's that interaction and getting the sessions while we go to class and being in that like-minded community where we can bounce the ideas around and figure out how we are going to incorporate these into our daily living. That's where the classes for me were so dynamic and really I've made some beautiful lifelong friendships too, that I can count on no matter where I am or what time of day, or I just know that I have people in my court that, whatever I happen to walk up to, I'm fully supported, and I truly value all of the classes that I've taken, and it's been a great journey. So yeah, I'm a kind of a classroom addict, you might say.
No, I love it. What you said is in addition to the healing, you're right, the international contacts I had and
Mhm.
the friends I have made and how much support I can count on. It is, oh my God, it's so amazing that I feel blessed on a daily basis that Body Talk has connected me to so many places and so many
Yeah,
beautiful people. So yes, well said. Classes are definitely a blessing to meet people in addition to learning the material in such a beautiful environment. Now,
yes.
taking it to the life sciences classes, and you talked a
Mhm.
little bit about breakthrough. So let's dive into Mindscape. Where did that
Yeah.
start for you?
Yeah, that was one of I think it was the third class that I took, and I really just took them in not in any particular order, but more of what was coming to my area that was accessible.
Hmm.
So, I did take Mindscape before I certified. I really felt like it was the missing piece for me to access that intuitive part of a session. So Mindscape allows you to explore intuition and have the tools to translate your intuition. Often we get these um, ideas or sensations, and we don't really know what to make of them. But when we have our Mindscape workshop, then we can utilize our tools to get a better understanding of the information that's coming to us. So I really wanted to incorporate that into my body talk sessions for my clients. And lots of these classes, when I first started taking them, I thought, oh, this will be so great for my clients, so awesome for my clients. And what I ended up finding out was that it was really so awesome for me, because I was able to utilize a lot of these things in my own life, and my, even parenting my kids. I cannot imagine having to parent my kids without Mindscape now. There was never any worry. I just had a sense of being able to connect with them wherever they were, and you know, parent them. I wasn't by any means the perfect parent, but I was able to feel like I was connected to them and had some sort of understanding about where they were at, just using my great tool of Mindscape.
Yeah, very true. And my only regret about Mindscape has been I don't know why I stopped myself from taking it. Again, me getting in the
Mhm.
way of me, right? So,
Yeah.
but the moment I took it, I said, really? Why was I stopping myself? And since then, I've taken it twice. I've coordinated
Mhm.
it. I've taken the advanced Mindscape, and maybe I will become instructor of Mindscape because I just fell in love the
Yes.
moment I took this class. And just like you're saying, yes, the sessions became a lot more comfortable,
Mhm.
especially the remote sessions. But the best part is that dilemmas of life. That's
Yes.
where this has come in very handy. That when confusion comes in, decisions are hard to make. That's where Mindscape comes in. Go in and find out what is the real answer. So,
Yes.
it brings so much peace in everyday life, and just love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. You said that wonderfully. Yeah, it does. It changes your life and makes things the unexplainable or the unknown can become known. And I really appreciate that aspect of Mindscape.
Yes. So now taking another leap here, since
Mhm.
you have gone from becoming a practitioner to an instructor and then actually making instructors. So
Mhm.
let's get into how does that jump happen for you, and how would you encourage other people to get on that path, including me?
Yeah. Definitely become certified, like, so get your foundation under you in terms of um, being certified and setting up a practice, even if it's an online practice, distance. These days, that's very acceptable. I ran three different clinical practices in three different areas. Like, I lived fairly remote, so I traveled to three different clinics, and they were all pretty busy. And then as I got into traveling and teaching more, I had to close them just simply because I didn't have time. But I would encourage people to become practitioners and then step into a, looking at instructorship with where your interest lies. Like, what do you like to do? Do you like the mindscape work? Would you like to help cultivate that intuitive knowing for people? Or do you want to put self care tools in people's hands for daily use? I would then, if they want to teach people how to do body talk access on themselves, then I would kind of guide them into that class. And then if you want to eventually train up new practitioners, then I would encourage people to start looking at fundamentals instructorship. Um, I can't see being an instructor of just one of them either. Again, like, that's maybe just me. But I feel like these three are so interwoven, and the Body Talk Access definitely supports all of my clients that when they can't see me or they have, acute health concerns that need daily attention, but they don't yet have the resources for a session every day. And nor do we want to overwhelm their system with sessions. We can just help them to maintain and prevent things from happening using Body Talk Access. So I really do encourage people to learn that system and become trainers of that. We don't have enough access trainers in the world. And then,
And the
to
best part
look at,
is you just take this class in one day and you
yes,
have a tool for a lifetime, right?
exactly.
That is the
Yes.
best part of it. This is the simplest thing. You don't need to become a practitioner. You are just doing self-care for, of course, for yourself and for anybody around you. So it
Yeah.
just frees you up in terms of feeling like, okay, I have a tool that I can use, and it doesn't cost anything.
Yes. And that's the beauty of it. Like, when your Advil or your Tylenol or whatever your painkillers might run out in the medicine cabinet, but Body Talk Access is always available 24/7 no matter where you are. So it's a great tool to travel anywhere with.
Yes, absolutely. Ah, yep. So it is a journey, first to learn and then to become an instructor. But Sherry, you are inspiring a lot of people today, including me. So
Oh, good. I'm happy to contribute, and I would love to see this system flourish. I really believe that it should be in everyone's home. Um, I one time I heard John say, he's the founder of Body Talk. I time heard him say that, he would like to hear on the end of a emergency call the 911 operator say, "Have you tapped out your cortices, and have you tapped out the cortices of the victim?" And I really think that if
wow.
we had more balanced brains out there, our healthcare and our healing would would change so drastically, and it would ripple out into the entire world would just be changing. So I see so much potential and I just want to share it with everybody.
Yes, me too. And being part of the management team, tell me a little bit more about, sometimes people feel that how come there is not more active marketing for Body Talk? Or does it really need marketing? What is your opinion about that?
So, in the course of all the years that I've been involved, I've spent some really decent money on advertising.
Okay.
And what I found is the return on investment for the advertising that I put out there was never as good as the return of investment on the word of mouth advertising from my clients to their friends or to their
Mm,
family. And so partly, there is that aspect of just I know from my own personal experience that's been my best money spent. The other part of it is we're such a small team of people right now. We're there's 5 of us. 2 of them are in the financial end of things, and 3 of us are on the production side of things. And so, essentially, for advertising, it would come down to there's 3 people. And by the time we get all of our daily tasks done, it's difficult to even entertain, um, the concepts of building more advertising. So this is where your work and the podcast that you're doing and the contributions of others to other practitioners and clients to spread the word, this is where it just is really of value. Um, because it comes from people that aren't selling something, right? You guys are we're me as a practitioner, but also you as a practitioner, and when you sell it from a management perspective, it's just doesn't ever feel as authentic. When it comes from word of mouth and the passion of people on the ground, um, people just resonate with that a whole lot more than some salesy marketing thing. But we
mm,
do need to focus on creating better awareness and spreading the word of body talk. I used to have a goal every day that I would speak to one person about body talk that had never heard about body talk before. And even if it was somebody in my little hometown, um, but they didn't really know what I would do, I made sure that at least one person per day I would connect with on some level, whether it was in person, whether it was on the phone. And I think that that was probably my most successful strategy for marketing body talk. Yeah.
mm. Uh, Very, very interesting insight that you have provided. Again, it all depends what our belief system is, and maybe
Mhm.
mine about since I was a marketing professional, so mine was, you have to do some active marketing. So,
Mhm.
but you are right. Even if you put these things in social media or all the other tools that are out there these days, right?
Mhm.
It is still very impersonal
I
because
agree.
you are not touching anybody one on one and explaining
Mhm.
things from your heart. You are
Yes.
probably using still that logical brain to
Mhm.
explain body talk, and that's where the maybe the gap comes in. So,
Yeah.
but I really admire that you trust the system to the point that you just went with your heart and the gut, and you said, okay, this is how it is going to be for me. And for other people, it may be a different way. Who knows? But
Yeah.
at least Body Talk has given us the freedom to choose our path, right? And go that way.
Yes.
So let it be that way.
Yeah. Yes, I 100% agree in the trust aspect and letting it unfold, but approaching it from that heart space, and connecting with individuals at that heart space is difficult on social media and our regular marketing avenues. It takes a really genuine, unique ad campaign, to find that heart space. And I'm not saying it can't be done. It absolutely can be done. I have felt advertising reach me at a core level. And I do think that, I think eventually something like that will evolve for us. It just hasn't come up yet. But
Hmm.
I do hold out that it will evolve and unfold as it should. Yeah.
Okay, when the time is right and the place is right,
Yeah.
things will unfold.
Yes.
So, any big aha moments with your clients or with yourself? Of course, you did say that it helped you in your personal life with your children. Were there
Mm.
any big aha moments you had with clients? Maybe one that you want to share?
Oh, pick one. Oh my gosh.
It's an
Um,
ocean picking a
right?
drop.
Yeah, it truly is. I guess there's one little boy that really stood out to me. Um, so he was born with 5% of his brain. And
Mm,
honestly, I didn't intellectually understand how he was even alive or functioning, or how this was even possible that a human could function with 5% brain mass. Um, and so the parents brought him in, and he was, I think, 9 at the time, and I
okay,
think he's now 13, I think.
okay,
And, they brought him in, and what they really wanted, like, he could walk, he moved, he got onto the table, um, he had some very, very high-end kind of autism type, um, behaviors, and, I didn't realize, nobody educated me on that he didn't like to be touched, and, I just, I asked him to lay on the table, he understood things, he got onto the table, and I did normal, like a normal body talk session. I touched him, I tapped him, and the parents never stopped me. They never said anything, and I must have been able to connect with the child in a way that it wasn't threatening or intimidating. And the parents' goal, what they really wanted to have happen, was for their child to speak. And at 5% brain capacity, I was like, "Oh, geez, I don't know." And that was probably the best, place for me to sit down to the table, the treatment table with that "I don't know. Let's just see what's possible." And, we did the session, and I know it was a different session for me because I usually get pretty anatomical into the pieces of brains and stuff like that, but because his brain was so different than any other brain in the world, essentially, which they all are unique if we think about it,
mm-hmm.
but his was just anatomically, I didn't know what resources he had available to him, right? So, anyway, I did the session in a very abstract way, and I just kinda had no attachment to outcome, as we should for every session. He hopped off the table, and he walked around the room a little bit, and he was getting a little bit fidgety while I was trying to explain to the parents, a few things that had come up, and pretty soon he looks at me and he says, "Bye." And he goes to the door, and the parents were just, like, flooded with emotions, and it was amazing. We were all so surprised, like, yeah, it was just so clear. "Bye," like, "It's you've rambled on long enough, it's time to head out. Our work is done here." So that was probably one of my favorites. Yeah,
Wow, that is amazing. Yeah.
yeah. Probably my other favorite, place to work in, I like children, but, my other place of that fascinates me is when people are dying, and that transition phase of, like, they really have only only a few more hours or a few more days to wrap up this journey here on Earth, and I'm really fascinated by that transition and their willingness to get that last minute work in and healing in for themselves, their spirit, their soul, and I love that aspect too. I've seen some pretty fantastic miracles then too.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very different, but yet very profound way of using body talk. I love it.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
what is your big message to our audience, to all the body talk practitioners and the people who are not yet into body talk? What can we
Mm.
say to them?
Well, I would say that it's a very profound system that if you allow it, it touches every aspect of your existence. And the possibilities for awareness, for learning and growing are endless. Um, and I'm just in awe that I get to be involved in a system that essentially my job is to watch miracles happen every day, and I just get so, I don't know, I'm just in awe that this gets to be my existence. You get to see people work through their tough stuff and come out the other side of it, and in one way or another, they are better for it. So I guess I'm just in awe, and I would love for others to find that wonder, that curiosity, and that the pleasure and passion of just watching life evolve, and all the possibilities that it holds for us. And I think that what I've learned in Body Talk has really inspired that open-mindedness and that eagerness to just see what the next day has to offer.
Uh,
Yeah.
Very well said. And Sherry, that is so true. Once you let go of that ego, that control, the level that you get at, and the peace that comes with that, and the beauty that you observe in life is unbelievable.
Yeah,
So,
it
y-
truly is. It's
y-
all magical.
yes,
Um,
yes, and definitely, like you said, it's a pleasure to be watching life as a miracle, and how
mhm.
people can be healed, and watch that miracle with us. Well said.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't want to let you go, but let's share your contact information, and maybe we'll meet again and have another episode. So,
Yeah, that
how
would be
should
great.
how should people contact you?
Yeah, you can just email me. It's Sherry, Sherry, at bodytalksystem.com. You could, if you're international, I'm in Canada, you can use WhatsApp, and you can reach out to me at 1-306-625-7132. Um, Either of those ways will work. I'm also on Facebook, so you can search out Sherry Gilbert or Seminars with Sherry Gilbert. I'm not always as active on social media, but I am out there. Yeah.
Okay. Sherry, it has been my pleasure to get to know you more, and your journey, and how beautiful it has been for you. And of course, I'm always happy to share Body Talk with the rest of the world. That is my joyride with this podcast. So we'll see you in
Well,
one of the Body Talk sessions, and who knows, in one of the class. And
sounds
never
wonderful.
never know, you may be an instructor soon. So
Yeah.
until we meet again, thank you, and bye, and we'll meet again. Bye, Sherry.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much, Indu. Bye bye.
Bye bye.